I went 4 days without talking to another adult. The Surgeon General calls this as deadly as 15 cigarettes a day. There is a dangerous part of I went 4 days without talking to another adult. The Surgeon General calls this as deadly as 15 cigarettes a day that nobody really prepares dads for. Not because men are fragile, but because most of us were trained to convert fear into jokes, silence, work, or anger before anyone notices we are drowning. So before we get tactical, let us say the true thing plainly. This is hard, it matters, and you are not the only dad trying to look calm while your internal HUD is flashing red. In 2023, the Surgeon General of the United States, Vivek Murthy, issued a formal public health advisory declaring loneliness an epidemic. He cited research showing that chronic loneliness has health effects roughly equivalent to smoking 15 cigarettes a day, higher all-cause mortality, higher cardiovascular risk, higher dementia risk, higher rate of clinical depression, higher rate of anxiety. The loneliness was not vibes. The loneliness was killing people, slowly, on a clinical timeline. Some of you watching this right now in your living rooms are inside one of the loneliest demographics in the country. American men aged 30 to 45, with small children, in dual-income households, in suburban housing layouts, working remote jobs, with no close-by family, with no religious community, with social media as their primary friend substitute. You have a baby, you have a wife, you have a job, you are still lonely. The loneliness has somehow gotten worse, not better, since the kid arrived. I want to start with this because the conventional wisdom about fatherhood and loneliness is upside down. The conventional wisdom is that having a kid fills your life with people and warmth, and the loneliness recedes. The data says the opposite. New fatherhood is, statistically, one of the loneliest stretches of male adult life in industrialized countries. The kid does not solve the loneliness. The kid often makes it worse, because the time and bandwidth that used to support friendships gets eaten by the kid, while the structural infrastructure of male friendship, sports leagues, churches, clubs, has been hollowed out over a generation. Today we are going to talk about that loneliness, the cellular experience of it, the biology of why it does damage, why it is specifically lethal for new dads, and the moves that the dads who get through this season with a real social life on the other side are quietly running. This is the episode where I admit I once went 4 days without having a real adult conversation that was not work or my wife. Stay with me. Let me start with the data, because the research on this has shifted dramatically in the last decade. There is a meta-analysis published in Perspectives on Psychological Science in 2015 that pooled data on loneliness and mortality. The headline finding was that chronic loneliness was associated with a 26% increase in all-cause mortality after controlling for everything else researchers could think of. That is a larger effect than obesity, comparable to smoking, comparable to severe air pollution exposure. The mechanism is not just psychological. Loneliness produces measurable changes in the body. Cortisol stays elevated, inflammation markers rise, immune function declines, sleep degrades. The cardiovascular system runs hotter for longer. Over years, the changes compound into the same diseases that smoking and obesity contribute to. The body interprets chronic loneliness as a survival threat, and the survival threat response, run continuously for years, breaks the body. This is the framework Murthy was citing in 2023. The loneliness was not a soft problem. It was a measured contributor to the diseases killing American adults. He called it an epidemic because the prevalence had been rising for decades and accelerating since 2020. Now, layer on the dad-specific data. There are several recent surveys, including a Cigna 2018 Loneliness Index and a Survey Center on American Life report that broke down loneliness by demographic. American men aged 30 to 45, your demographic if you are watching this, scored among the highest of any group surveyed. About 1 in 4 reported feeling lonely often. About 1 in 5 reported having no close confidants. The combination of new father plus 30 to 45 male puts most of you in the most lonely intersection of the most lonely cohort. You are not imagining the isolation. You are inside the demographic most likely to be isolated, at the life stage most likely to amplify it, in the country with the most eroded social infrastructure. The math is brutal. The loneliness is real. Now I want to do the personal piece, because I noticed it on a Tuesday in February, and the way I noticed it might match something you have been quietly noticing. It was a Tuesday morning. I was at the gas station. I made small talk with the attendant. I noticed, while talking to him, that I felt unexpectedly relieved by the conversation. The relief was disproportionate. It was a 30-second exchange about pump number 8. I should not have been relieved. I should have been impatient. When I got back in the car, I tried to remember the last time I had had a non-work, non-wife conversation with another adult human. I could not pinpoint a moment. I traced it back day by day. Monday, only my wife and coworkers. Sunday, only my wife. Saturday, only my wife. Friday, only my wife and coworkers. I had gone 4 days without speaking to anyone who was not in my immediate orbit. I had not noticed until the gas station attendant gave me a momentary hit of social interaction, and my body responded as F to water. That afternoon, I texted a friend I had not spoken to in months. I told him I was probably lonelier than I had let on, and could we talk on the phone for 30 minutes that week? He replied within an hour. We talked the next day for an hour and a half. The relief after that conversation was not subtle. It was the kind of relief that told me my body had been registering the absence of social contact as a low-grade emergency for some time. I want to make a specific point here because I think it gets missed. The wife does not count in this loneliness math. The wife is not loneliness canceling for you the way you might assume. The wife is one channel of social contact. She is the most important channel. She is also one channel. Humans are wired to need contact across multiple channels. A man whose only adult social input is his wife is biologically insulated, even if the marriage is fantastic. The biology does not care that you love each other. The biology needs a network. Most modern dads have unintentionally narrowed their social network down to one channel, the wife, and then are surprised when they feel weirdly hollow despite a healthy marriage. The hollow is the absence of the network. The marriage cannot fill the slot the network used to fill. Asking it to is what eventually wears the marriage down. Now the playbook. 6 moves. They are the moves that have rebuilt my social network from the gas station attendant lows, and that I have seen work for other dads who took it seriously. Move 1. The reach out text. This week, the single highest leverage move on this list. Pick a friend you have not spoken to in over 3 months, who you actually like. Send a text today. Specific text. I have been thinking about you. I have been heads down with the kids' stuff and I have not been a great friend lately. I miss you. Can we get on the phone for 30 minutes this week? That message, sent to almost any friend in your life, will almost always get a positive reply. Most of your friends are also lonely. Most of your friends are also waiting for someone to reach out. The first move is the move. Almost nobody runs it, because everybody is waiting for the other person to go first. Be the one who goes first. The risk is small. The return is enormous. Move 2. The standing call. After you reconnect, you put a recurring call on the calendar, once a week, same time, 30 minutes. The staying call is the move that prevents the friendship from re-degrading. Without a standing call, you will reconnect. You will say, let's do this more often, and then 6 months will go by. With a standing call, you have a fence around the friendship that protects it from the rest of your life. Most male friendships at this life stage do not have standing calls. Adding one is one of the most underused, highest return relationship moves in modern adulthood. Try it for 90 days with one specific friend. Watch what it does to your week. Move 3. The third place. Cheap, regular, in person. We covered this in the Village episode. It applies again here. The third place is a coffee shop, a gym, a park bench, a bookstore, wherever you go regularly that is not home and not work. The third place is where the casual social contacts of adult life happen. The barista, the other regulars, the trainer at the gym. Pick one. Go once a week, predictably, same time, same day. After 90 days, the place starts to recognize you. After 6 months, you have casual social contacts that are not your wife and not your coworkers. The texture of the week shifts. Move 4. Stop using social media as a friend substitute. Most men in our age band have been using social media as a substitute for actual contact. Scrolling Instagram, watching the friends you used to have, reacting to posts with emoji, reading old conversations. The substitute does not work. Social media engagement in loneliness research correlates with worse loneliness, not better. The pseudo-contact tricks the brain just enough to suppress the loneliness signal, while doing nothing to fill the actual relational need. Get off the apps for 30 days. Watch what happens to your motivation to actually contact people. The motivation comes back because the cheap pseudo-contact is no longer suppressing it. The actual contact follows. Move 5. The local dad. Find one. The hardest specific move on this list. Find one specific dad in your geographic area who has a kid roughly your kid's age. Get his number. Text him. Suggest a Saturday morning park trip with the kids. The kids occupy each other. The dads talk. After 90 minutes, you have had more real-time contact with another adult man than you probably had in the previous month. Most dads do not have a local dad friend. Most dads also do not realize that the local dad friendship is dramatically lower effort than other adult friendships because the kids are the activity. The activity is built in. The bandwidth requirement is small. The return is large. Find the one. Most playgrounds have at least one available candidate. Make the move. The first conversation is awkward. The 5th one is normal. The 15th one is a friendship. Move 6. Tell your wife you are working on this. This is a small move that pays back disproportionately. Tell your wife that you are working on building back your own social network because you have noticed it has narrowed too much. Most wives respond well to this. Most wives have been quietly worried that you are too dependent on them as your sole source of social contact, and they have been quietly carrying the weight of being your only outlet. Naming the work explicitly does 2 things. It shifts the responsibility of your social life back to you where it belongs. It also gives your wife permission to do the same work for herself, which most wives at this stage need to do too. Both of you, with healthier individual networks, produce a healthier marriage. The marriage is not the network. The marriage is the substrate the network grows around. Now the kicker. The Tuesday gas station moment was, in retrospect, the data my body had been trying to give me for months. The 4-day stretch was not a one-off. It was the modal week, and I had stopped noticing it because the modal week had become the new baseline. Most dads at this stage are operating on a baseline that 10 years ago would have alarmed them. The baseline is the absence of the social infrastructure that used to be part of being a man. The friends, the team, a bar after work, a Sunday afternoon hangout, the phone calls. All of those have, for most of us, been replaced by feeds, scrolling, and one-way emoji reactions. The replacements do not work. Your nervous system knows. The work to rebuild is small, repeated, and slightly uncomfortable. The first text, the first call, the first standing weekly slot, the first local dad, the first 30-day social media break. None of these are dramatic. Together, run consistently, they rebuild the network that the modern American economy has been quietly dissolving for decades. You are not weak for being lonely. You are inside one of the loneliest demographics in measured history. The loneliness is real and it is doing damage. The damage is, with deliberate work, reversible. Quick replay. The 6 moves. 1. Reach out text this week. Specific, honest, vulnerable. 2. Standing weekly call with one friend. Calendar. Defended. 3. The third place. Cheap, regular, in-person. 4. 30-day break from social media as friend substitute. 5. Find a local dad. The kids are the activity. Lower effort friendship. 6. Tell your wife you are working on this. Move the load off her. Here is the line. The loneliness you are feeling at the gas station on a Tuesday morning when the attendant's small talk gives you a hit of relief that should not have been there is not a defect in you. It is a signal from your body that the social infrastructure of your life has degraded below sustainable levels. The signal is information. The information is asking you to do work. The work is the texts, the calls, the visits, the standing slots. The work, run for 90 days, rebuilds enough infrastructure that the gas station attendant becomes a normal stranger again, instead of a lifeline. Tonight, send the text. The friend you are thinking about right now, who you have not contacted in months, the one whose name just appeared in your head, send them the message. Be honest. Be vulnerable. Set up the call. Most dads who do this report, within a month, that the texture of life has changed, not because anything else has changed, because the network has come back online. The network is the variable. Move it. You are not alone in being alone. There is a version of dad content that skips the ugly middle. It jumps from announcement photo to matching pajamas and pretends the stretch between those 2 points is just a cute montage. That is not how this works. The middle is where you become someone else while still grieving the person you were. If this topic hits a nerve, that is not weakness. That is signal. It means the story is close enough to your actual life that your body recognizes it before your pride can clean it up. The boss fight is not one dramatic moment. It is bedtime after a bad workday. It is the bottle that leaks at 2 a.m. It is hearing your partner sigh and knowing you are both out of health potions. It is wanting 30 minutes to yourself and feeling guilty for wanting it. This is where the gaming metaphor matters. You do not win by pretending the difficulty setting is lower. You win by changing strategy, conserving stamina, and learning the pattern. Tonight, do not try to fix your whole life. Pick one concrete move, send the apology, prep the daycare bag. Put your phone in another room for 10 minutes. Ask your partner what would make tomorrow morning 5% easier. Open the calendar. Text one dad friend. Choose the boring action that makes the next level less punishing. The win condition is not perfection. The win condition is one less avoidable explosion tomorrow. Now, the vulnerable truth. A lot of men wait until the feeling becomes anger before they admit they are scared. Scared they are failing. Scared they are becoming their father. Scared they will never feel free again. Scared they love their kid and still miss silence. Say the clean sentence underneath the messy one. I am overwhelmed. I need help. I miss who we used to be. I do not know how to do this yet. That sentence is not a debuff. It is the first useful command. News of the co-op patch. If there is another parent in the house, the patch is communication before resentment. Not a trial, not a scoreboard. A short sync. What is hard right now? What can move? What cannot move? And what would help before the next crash? Do not wait for the dramatic relationship summit. Healthy co-op is mostly tiny updates before the server catches fire. But the new build can still contain the best parts of you. Curiosity, humor, discipline, tenderness, competitiveness, creativity, the part that wants to teach a small person how to move through the world. You are not belittling yourself. You are respecting under pressure. Number 2, the shame trap. The shame trap says, you are the only dad who feels this way. You are not. You are just one of the few willing to say it before it leaks out sideways, as sarcasm, distance, scrolling, snapping, spending, drinking, or disappearing into a screen after bedtime. Shame thrives in vague silence. Shrink it by naming the exact sentence. I am jealous of my old freedom. I am scared my partner does not like me anymore. I am angry and then ashamed of being angry. I miss gaming without negotiating for it. Once the sentence is clean, you can actually do something with it. Meanwhile, the partner translation layer. Your partner may not hear the sentence you think you are saying. You say, I need a break, and they hear, you are on your own. You say, I worked all day, and they hear, your day did not count. You say, just tell me what to do, and they hear, please manage one more person. Translate before impact. Try, I am at 0 and I know you are too. What is the next fair move? That sentence does not solve everything, but it keeps the team from turning on itself. Put the baby somewhere safe. Step into the hallway. Splash water on your face. Say out loud, "I am overloaded, not dangerous." Text your partner if you need relief. If you are alone, lower the stakes and slow the room down. Then repair. Repair is the skill. You will not be a dad who never snaps. You can be a dad who comes back, owns it, and teaches your kid that big feelings do not have to become permanent damage. One of the weirdest parts of early fatherhood is watching your old social life keep moving without you. The group chat still fires, the games still launch, the memes still land. But you are holding a bottle in the dark, reading everything hours late, feeling like a ghost in your own life. Do not confuse absence with abandonment. Send the honest message. I am in the trenches, but I still want in. Real friends can adapt. Shallow routines may fall away. That hurts, and it also tells you what was actually built. Number 6. Pressably creation. Do not tell you what was actually built. Check the body check. Before you decide your life is broken, check the body. Have you slept? Eaten real food? Moved outside? Had water? Taken 5 minutes without a screen? A lot of existential dread is real, but it gets louder when your body is running on fumes and leftover nuggets. This is not wellness influencer nonsense. This is basic resource management. You cannot run an endgame raid on a red stamina bar and then call yourself weak when you wipe. TSC, the screen honesty check. Games can be rest, art, connection, and identity. They can also become anesthesia. The difference is how you feel afterward. Rested, connected, more yourself, good. Numb, avoidant, irritated when interrupted, and resentful of anyone who needs you, that is not rest. That is escape with better graphics. You do not have to quit the thing you love. You have to make it honest again. News close the father you are. Building your kid is not only watching the heroic moments. They are watching repair, patience, apologies, how you treat their mother, how you handle losing, how you talk about your own limits, and whether screens get more eye contact than may do. That sounds heavy because it is, but it is also hopeful. You do not need one cinematic speech. You need 1,000 small reps where your child sees a man telling the truth and coming back to the people he loves. Here is the loadout for this week. 1 honest sentence, 1 calendar block, 1 practical chore you fully own, 1 repair conversation, 1 dad-friend touchpoint, 1 no-phone pocket of time with your kid, and 1 protected hour that actually restores you. Do not make it pretty, make it real. A stable build beats a fantasy build every time. Childcare, rent, groceries, formula, insurance, car repairs, and the quiet pressure to provide can make you feel as you are 1 bad month away from failing everyone. A lot of dads do not call that anxiety, they call it being responsible. But your nervous system knows the difference. Name the pressure without letting it become your personality. Make the spreadsheet, talk about the bill, ask for the cheaper option, cancel the subscription, but also say the true thing. I am scared. Fear that gets named becomes a problem to solve instead of a monster under the bed. At home, everything resets, everyone needs you, and nobody claps because you remembered wipes. That contrast can make the office feel easier than your actual life. Be careful with that. Your family does not need your polished work mask. They need the man underneath it to come home before there is nothing left of him. I am going to do this differently next time. No courtroom defense. No 5-minute speech about how tired you are. Own the impact first. That kind of apology does 2 things. It repairs the person in front of you, and it trains your own brain to see repair as part of strength instead of humiliation. You need at least 1 person who gets the real version, the guy who loves his kid and still wants to scream into a pillow sometimes. That person might be a brother, a friend, a group chat, a therapist, a neighbor, or another dad at pickup who looks equally cooked. Do not wait until you are heroic enough to ask for connection. Ask while it is awkward. Awkward connection beats polished isolation. Tick the future cutscene. Picture the future cutscene for a second. Your kid is older. They remember less of the perfect activities than you think. What they remember is the atmosphere. Did Dad come back after hard moments? Did Dad listen? Did Dad laugh? Did Dad apologize? Did Dad make me feel wanted even when life was heavy? That is the legacy system you are building, not a flawless childhood, a trustworthy emotional climate. Take the morning after. The morning after a hard night is where a lot of dads quietly decide what kind of man they are. Maybe you snapped. Maybe you withdrew. Maybe you stared at your phone while your kid tried to get your attention. Maybe you and your partner went to bed facing opposite walls. Do not let the morning after become evidence that you are doomed. Let it become data. What failed? Sleep? Planning? Food? Communication? Expectations? Support? A good player reviews the wipe and changes the strategy. Now the masculinity patch. A lot of us inherited a broken masculinity patch. Be useful. Be strong. Do not complain. Provide. Protect. Absorb damage. Those are not all bad instincts. The problem is when they become the only buttons available. Your kid needs more than a silent tank. They need a man who can protect and explain, provide and connect, lead and apologize, be strong and still tell the truth about pain. That is not soft. That is a better build. Use the 10-minute reset when the house feels cursed. 10 minutes to clear the counter. 10 minutes to prep bottles. 10 minutes to sit next to your partner with no logistics. 10 minutes on the floor with your kid where you are not half playing and half scrolling. 10 minutes outside. 10 minutes will not fix fatherhood. It will interrupt the spiral. Sometimes that is enough to stop a bad hour from becoming a bad night. 10 minutes all over. Change the private scoreboard. Watch the private scoreboard in your head. I did bedtime yesterday. She slept more. I worked harder. I changed the last diaper. Some of those facts may be true, and the scoreboard can still poison the room. Replace the scoreboard with a status check. Who is closest to breaking? What has to happen next? What can wait? What would help the team? Co-op survives when both players stop trying to win against each other. Some of the most powerful fatherhood moments are repairs your own dad never made. The apology, the calm return, the explanation after anger, the hug after conflict, the sentence, "You did not deserve that tone." You may feel ridiculous doing it the first few times. Do it anyway. You are not only parenting your kid in that moment, you are also breaking a pattern that may have been running in the background for decades. Most fatherhood heroism is boring. Nobody makes a movie trailer about washing pump parts, comparing daycare forms, learning the bedtime routine, clipping tiny nails, or staying calm during a meltdown in a parking lot. But boring heroism is what a family is built on. It is the stuff that makes people feel safe. It is the daily proof that love is not just a feeling you announce. It is a system you maintain. Chapter number 1. B.P. It is a system you maintain. The 1-week challenge. For the next 7 days, treat I went 4 days without talking to another adult. The Surgeon General calls this as deadly as 15 cigarettes a day, like a real quest. Choose one measurable action each day. 10 minutes of eye contact. 1 chore owned without being asked. 1 honest text. 1 walk outside. 1 repaired moment. 1 protected bedtime routine. 1 hour where the controller, the phone, and the anxiety are not driving. 7 small reps will teach you more than 1 dramatic promise. The game changes when the habits get boring enough to work. Number 2. The line you repeat. Repeat this line when the week gets ugly. I can be overwhelmed and still be responsible for my next move. That sentence gives you no free pass, but it gives you a handle. It separates the feeling from the behavior. You are allowed to be exhausted. You are allowed to miss your old life. You are allowed to need help. You are not allowed to disappear from the people counting on you. The path is not shame. The path is ownership with support. Today you'll be reading, SESGIGORAS. Keep in mind me why. This is the comment section question. If this is the episode about I went 4 days without talking to another adult, the Surgeon General calls this as deadly as 15 cigarettes a day. The question is simple. What is the thing you thought you were not allowed to admit? Not the polished answer, the real one. The one other dads read and go quiet because they thought it was only them. That is the community layer. One honest comment can give another man permission to stop pretending. It is a total operating system migration with no clean install window. Keep the kids safe, repair when you snap, tell the truth faster. Make tomorrow slightly easier. That is not a small thing. That is the game. If this helped you level up your dad game, smash that like button so other gamer dads can find us. Subscribe to Gamer Dads for practical parenting advice with a millennial gaming twist.